Imagine you're 6,000 feet above sea level. Temperature is minus 13 Fahrenheit. And the only thing between you and death, it's a thin tent. And there is no roads, no villages, no rescue. Just you and that endless snow. Then something happens. Something so terrifying that you and your friends had to slice your tent from the inside and just run to the frozen wilderness. No boots, no supplies, nothing. You abandon everything and just run. You leave your coat, everything, barefoot. 9 experienced hikers. They entered the Ural Mountain in 1959. None of them came back alive. Some found naked, others with their crushed ribs, skulls split open. One of them was missing their tongue. So was it an avalanche, a military experiment, a natural phenomenon, or something far more stranger? Well, tonight we're gonna reopen that case and we're gonna dive into it. It's one of the cold cases that has lasted over 60 years. This is the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Let's go. In January 1959, the Soviet Union was locked deep inside the Cold War. Space was accelerating. Better say space exploration. Military research was conducted on secret. Large regions of the Soviet, it was closed for outsider. And then there was the Ural Mountain. Beautiful, remote. For some hikers, that place was great to get your grade 3 certifications. For other people or everybody else, it was a dangerous place. A place that you could disappear, or better said, it will make you disappear. Leading that expedition was Igor Dyatlov, 23. He was a student engineer in the Ural Polytechnic Institute. He wasn't reckless. He actually was an experienced hiker. He was very respected in the institute and outside as a hiker. He started this expedition with another 9 hikers and mountaineers with experience. The reason for this, he just wanted to gain that grade 3 hiker certification. The expedition actually started in January 13, 1959. The mood was light, they were happy, they were having fun. And there's a picture of that. And it's guarded as evidence. So you could see they were just having fun on the way to this place. Well, one of those guys, Yuri, he actually started having back pain. And he wasn't sure if he actually will be making this trip. So he decided to turn back around. The 9 left, they decided to continue. They took a train, they took a truck. Until this day, Yuri still questioned himself what actually happened that night. He wondered why fate spared him. By February 1, the team reached the slope. Strong winds, blowing snow, it was barely visible for them. So they decided instead of going down the forest and camp in the forest, they went to the mountainside and they camped there. This was very questionable. Experienced hikers and mountaineers making the decision to just camp right by the mountainside was just strange. Hours later, something happened. Something powerful enough to make them cut their tent from the inside and just ran into the frozen wilderness without boots, without coat, without supplies, without anything. Several weeks later, rescuers arrived and they found something almost impossible to explain. They actually found their tent sliced open from the inside. So what actually happened? Igor made a promise. He promised his family and friends that as soon as he returned to civilization, he will send a telegram. The telegram never came. At first, nobody panicked. Expeditions, they can get delayed. As they passed, it became 2, 3, and they started to concern. The family demanded answers. The officials urged patience. In February 20, they actually started a search team. They had volunteers, military personnel, officials. Eventually, our aircraft joined. 8 days has passed. The helicopter were researching the ridge, but visibility was poor. Snow had buried almost everything. On February 26, one of the teams spotted a tent, half buried. What they found inside the tent was just more questions. There was a tent. They didn't see any blood. They didn't see any bodies. Backpacks were there, cameras, food, diaries, their warm clothing, maps, everything that a hiker needs to survive, it was inside the tent. But why? That's the question that investigator did over and over and over. It remains unknown. They keep researching around the tent and they found footprints that go away from the tent into the forest. But it looks like they were just walking. But what was that got them to leave in a desperate without running, yet calmly walking barefoot, socks or boots? They saw all these footprints and it's documented. At the edge of the forest, there was a big Severian cedar tree, and at the base there was a campfire. Well, they found Yuri and Georgie. Neither of them were wearing proper winter clothing. At the top of the tree, it looks like branches were just cut off, like somebody climbed up there, but why remains unknown. So several hundred feet away, investigators found Igor, Zenaida, and Rustam. First, when they started investigating, they were confused, but more advanced into the research, they saw that they were going back to the tents, but they didn't make it. They died of hypothermia. 4 hikers still missing, and they don't know where they are. But what they discovered a month later will leave them speechless and with more questions. The winter slowly let go of the grip of the Ural Mountain, and the snow was hiding secrets under 15 feet. They came back for the research, and what they discovered was insane. May 4th, 1959, after 3 months ago that the first hikers disappeared, they found the other 4 missing hikers. Unlike the other 5 hikers, the first one that they found, this one, they had different injuries. They were pretty protected. They had their snow clothing or winter clothing, but their clothing was from the first group, which the officials led with the investigation. Well, the first group died and they took out their clothing and they used it to try and survive. They were trying to build a shelter under this 15 feet of snow. They had branches, saplings. They were trying to build a platform and survive. But this injury, it was just insane. So autopsies were made and they found Nikolai, Ludmila, Alexander, Simeon. Nikolai had a severe skull fracture, and Lyudmila, she had rib fractures, but they found that she was missing soft tissue from her mouth as well as her tongue. There's no evidence of surgical incisions, but it was off for the investigation. Simeon had multiple fractures, ribs fracture consistent with immense force. Alexander had fewer traumatic injuries, but his injuries were more consistent with decomposition. The tissues on his face were just decomposing. After the autopsy, they took their clothes and they did some tests on their clothing. They found radiation levels on their clothes. They could not explain why. A month later, the Soviet officials gave a statement, and they said the hikers died because of a compelling natural force. That's it. No further explanation, no further comments. That was just it. That was the only thing that they gave to their family and friends. What made experienced hikers abandon everything they had and just walk into their death? For more than 6 decades, scientists, investigators, journalists, even amateur researchers, they've been searching for answers. If you question yourself, why would 9 experienced hikers will walk out of their tents and expose themselves to that kind of environment? Well, we're gonna walk into theory number 1, slab avalanche. Now, historically, investigators and modern computers, they suggest a small slab avalanche happened that night. And the hikers, with their experience, they know that after that, an avalanche might happen. So they cut their tent open and rushed outside just to evade that avalanche. They waited for a time, but it was too late. By the time they were coming back to the tent, they were already suffering for hypothermia, or they were just simply lost. Another theory is katabatic winds. Now, another explanation, right? That powerful winds created a dangerous conditions and exposed them. Now, this wind can produce a violent gust. They can produce extreme wind chill and sensation that remaining outside a tent can be unsafe. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a theory that might happen, but we don't know. There is no evidence backing this up. The third theory is the military testing. Because of the Soviet Union conducted a lot of secret operation with weapons, and this was time of a Cold War. Some believe that the hikers actually encountered a classified and military activity. They were not supposed to see that. Now, supporters cite reports of glowing lights and traces around this area, but the evidence supporting this is just witnesses. Now, there's no conclusive evidence towards this, so a lot of people will question this. Now, if we look at the theory number 4, it says infrasound. Some researchers propose that unusual wind conditions produce low frequency around the wave capable of causing anxiety and disorientation. But the only evidence supporting this is that infrasound can affect people under a specific laboratory conditions. You are in an open place and it's a natural place. There's no evidence that demonstrates that this theory is legit, but some people believe this. Now, another theory is a Mansi attack. This theory started very early, and it says that the Mansi people actually, that there were the local people in the Ural Mountain, they actually attack the people in the expedition. Evidence against it? I mean, the footprints that they found only belong to the hikers. So if there's some Mansi people around, there was no evidence. Now, this is a debunked claim. There's no credible evidence that the Mansi people attack the hikers with this harsh environment. Now, another theory is UFOs, Yetis, and the paranormal. Over decades, books, television programs, and internet discussion has proposed extraterrestrial and cryptids and supernatural forces that cause this. I mean, at the end of the day, there's no scientific explanation that will support the paranormal, and there's no historical evidence at all supporting this. In conclusion, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains compelling just because every theory has some question to it. There's no evidence at all, but the mountain keeps it secret. In 2019, they reopened the case with more modern tools and better technology. They went over the evidence again, and they concluded that what actually happened was a slab avalanche. This is a confirmed fact. But now we still have questions like, why did they leave so quickly? Why the location of the bodies were found so spread away from each other? And could every injury be explained but the same natural? I mean, they were similar, but they were different in their own way. Now, at the end of the day, these people, they have family, they have friends, and they had future. And even though their story deserves curiosity, they also deserve respect. So sometimes history just leaves us with fragments, evidence, questions, and silence. And perhaps the mountain still holds a secret that is just never gonna be revealed. Now, if you like the story and you want to explore more historical mystery, maybe unexplained events, just subscribe to Code 787. Now, leave in the comment which theory for you was more convincing. Was it the infrasound? Do you believe that residual of radioactive in the clothing was just off? What's your theory? Let us know in this comment. And remember, this is Code 787. We question everything.